This year, we had some discussions about who should get the Bruce Lundvall Award. So there was some proposals from everyone, but one really stood out from Mr. Lundvall himself, and he felt like it would be appropriate to honor Herman Leonard. Herman Leonard is himself a great photographer, and he's become an icon in his profession, which for a photographer is a great achievement. So, and we had the pleasure to host him last year. He did some picture taking at the festival all the time that he was here. We saw the results in the exhibition that he presented here last fall. We opened our new gallery. The press room that you have here becomes a gallery for the fall and winter season before it reverted to its press room function in the rest of the festival season. And so we saw the results of his works, of his recent works, as well as the classic works that you see displayed here, only a small example of. And it was a wonderful exhibition, and we saw that he did not lose his touch at all. There was some great, great pictures there. And I can remember of one, especially of Dave Brubeck. We knew that Dave last year, around his appearance here, had a pretty dramatic personal situation where he lost his older son. I was in the hospital at the time that Dave was with us, and then Dave decided to perform because he could not gather his family before many days. So the circumstances were pretty dramatic, and still Herman, who established a rapport for the first time with Dave Brubeck, he had never met him, which is pretty strange. The two guys are about the same age and they've been around for that many years. But Herman managed to really take pictures of Dave in the dressing room that really stand out as if Dave was in a moment of grace, you know, which in some way he was with Herman Leonard. So I had the chance to witness that session, and I understood the very subtle mechanics that Mr. Leonard works with, and it was quite amazing to watch him ply his trade in front of a legend like Dave Brubeck, and the very easy instant rapport they established with Brubeck.
I spent a lot of time with him at North Sea Festival. He was photographing Jackie Terrison, and in New Orleans also at the festival there, and many other places. I always run into Herman. Whenever I went to a festival, he was there with his camera.
Yeah.
And now he's 80 some odd years old, and he's still doing it, and he lives in California now. Before that, he lived in Paris for a long time, and I think the thing that I think of when I think of Herman Leonard is the period in the 40s when he had a studio in Greenwich Village, and he was going to the Royal Roost and Birdland, and in order to pay his admission, which he didn't have any money, he would give them photographs for publicity purposes. He was in the clubs photographing these great iconic photos. And he just was one of my favorite photographers. In fact, I think of him as being maybe the first jazz photographer in my mind. It seems that he was. If he wasn't, I'm surprised, but he seemed to be the guy that was most influential in that field. He had a style that was all his own. He always said he was always looking for an interesting face.
Yeah.
And he said, you look into the eyes of a person, you can see if they've really lived an interesting life or not. And his favorite subject was Miles Davis, which doesn't surprise any of us, I'm sure.
There we go. Since he could not be here, we have an acceptance speech from Mr. Leonard that he sent us. So we're going to play it right now.
Well, this has been quite a night for me, especially because I've just received an award that I didn't even know existed. And it's been my honor to have been named the second recipient of the prestigious Bruce Lundvall Award. And I'm in excellent company because Mr. Lundvall himself is the first recipient and the creator of this prestigious award. It has to do with people who have contributed to jazz without playing an instrument. So that is indeed an honor for me. 55 years have gone by since I went to my first jazz festival. But this particular 2009 festival was perhaps the most enjoyable I've ever had. The producers, André Ménard and Alain René, and their wonderful staff, did a terrific job of making it one of the most comfortable assignments I've had in all of my jazz years. And as far as the musical acts are concerned, they had music that just blew me away. Miles from India, combining Indian music and music from Miles, which are my two favorite forms of music. And I also was blown away by the first girl singer that made me sit up and take notice since Sarah Vaughan, Melody Gardot. Beautiful. So, let me say to you, Bruce Lundvall, the Montreal Jazz Festival, and myself, let's all three of us continue to search for, record, and photograph the great musicians that are contributing to the only true American art form, jazz. That's what I got.